The warm glow of string lights illuminated the gardens of Ashford Manor, one of the city's most luxurious private estates. Elegant guests filled the lawn, sipping champagne as a live orchestra played softly beneath the stars. It was the extravagant 32nd birthday celebration of Sophia Bennett, the brilliant CEO of Bennett Global. Sophia had long, wavy, dark brown hair, expressive hazel eyes, and wore the exact same emerald green sleeveless evening gown seen in the thumbnail. Across the garden stood Ethan Carter, a 38-year-old single father with a tall, athletic build, short light brown hair and light stubble, wearing the exact same fitted slate gray polo shirt and dark navy jeans from the thumbnail. He wasn't a billionaire. He owned a small landscaping company. His company had been hired to decorate the estate for the birthday party. As the final decorations were completed, Ethan quietly prepared to leave. Then, Sophia suddenly walked toward him. Before he could say a word, she gently grabbed his arm. "Ethan, I need your help." He looked surprised. "Of course." "What happened?" Sophia glanced across the garden. Standing near the birthday cake were her controlling mother, Evelyn Bennett, wearing the same champagne gold satin evening gown, and Daniel Cross, a wealthy businessman wearing the same royal blue suit and light blue tie. Daniel had spent months pressuring Sophia to marry him. Tonight. Both families expected an engagement announcement. Sophia looked back at Ethan. Her voice trembled. "My family thinks Daniel is my future husband. I can't do it." Ethan frowned. "What do you want me to do?" She took a deep breath, then whispered the words that would change both their lives. "Act like my fiancé tonight." Ethan stared at her in disbelief. "What? If I don't? They'll force me into a marriage I don't want." The orchestra continued playing. The guests laughed, unaware of the conversation unfolding beneath the lights. Sophia tightened her grip on Ethan's arm. "I'm not asking for forever. Just tonight." Across the garden, Daniel noticed them, and his smile slowly disappeared. The music continued. Champagne glasses clinked as guests laughed beneath the glowing string lights. But Ethan stood frozen. "You want me to pretend we're engaged?" Sophia nodded. "Just for one evening. My mother has already invited the press. If I refuse Daniel tonight, my board of directors may turn against me." Ethan looked around the elegant garden. "This isn't my world. I'm just the guy who planted the flowers." Sophia smiled softly. "That's exactly why I chose you. You've looked me in the eyes all evening. Everyone else has only looked at my money." Before Ethan could answer, a voice interrupted them. "Sophia." It was Daniel Cross, the wealthy businessman in the same royal blue suit and light blue tie. He walked toward them with a confident smile. "I've been looking everywhere for you." His smile disappeared the moment he noticed Sophia still holding Ethan's arm. "And who is this?" Sophia didn't hesitate. She stepped even closer to Ethan. Then, she gently slipped her hand into his. The guests nearby stopped talking. Sophia smiled calmly. "Daniel, I'd like you to meet my fiancé." The entire garden fell silent. Daniel laughed. "Your what?" "My fiancé." Ethan could barely believe what he was hearing. Daniel stared at Ethan from head to toe. "The landscaper?" Sophia answered firmly. "The man I love." Across the lawn, Evelyn Bennett, Sophia's mother in her champagne gold satin gown, nearly dropped her champagne glass. What did she just say? Every guest turned toward the couple. Cameras began flashing. Reporters rushed closer. Daniel's face turned red with anger. "This is impossible." Sophia looked at Ethan, then whispered just loudly enough for him to hear. "I'm sorry, but from this moment on, we have to convince everyone." She smiled. "Starting now." She gently rested her head against Ethan's shoulder. The photographers captured the moment. The next morning, those photographs would be on the front page of every newspaper in the country. Camera flashes lit up the garden. Within seconds, whispers spread through the birthday party. "The CEO has a fiancé." "Who is he?" "Isn't that the landscaping contractor?" Daniel Cross clenched his fists. "This is ridiculous." He stepped closer to Ethan. "You think you belong here?" Ethan remained calm. "I never said I did." Sophia tightened her grip on Ethan's hand. I did. The guests fell silent again. Sophia looked directly at the reporters. I'd like everyone to meet the man I love. Dozens of cameras immediately pointed toward Ethan. He had never been in front of reporters before. His heart raced. Sophia leaned toward him and whispered, "Just trust me." Before Ethan could answer, an elegant woman approached. It was Evelyn Bennett, Sophia's mother. She looked Ethan up and down. "So, you're the man my daughter intends to marry?" Ethan answered respectfully. "I'm Ethan Carter. I own a small landscaping company." Evelyn laughed. "My daughter runs a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And you plant flowers." The nearby guests chuckled. Sophia's smile disappeared. "My mother is mistaken." Evelyn frowned. "Oh?" Sophia looked proudly at Ethan. "He builds homes. He raises his daughter alone. He pays every employee fairly. And unlike many wealthy men in this room, he never pretends to be someone he's not." The laughter stopped instantly. Daniel Cross interrupted. "This relationship is fake." Sophia calmly turned toward him. "Would you like me to prove you wrong?" Without waiting for an answer, she stepped closer to Ethan, placed both hands gently on his face, and kissed him in front of everyone. The garden exploded with gasps. Reporters rushed forward. Camera flashes filled the night sky. Daniel stood frozen. Evelyn couldn't believe her eyes. And Ethan realized this had stopped being an act. The kiss lasted only a few seconds, but it changed everything. The garden fell completely silent. Camera flashes lit up the night as every reporter rushed forward. Daniel Cross stood frozen, unable to believe what he had just witnessed. Evelyn Bennett lowered her champagne glass. "Sophia, what have you done?" Sophia slowly took Ethan's hand. She didn't let go. She looked directly at the guests. "For years, you've judged people by their wealth. I've spent my whole life surrounded by billionaires. But I've never felt as safe as I do standing beside Ethan." The crowd exchanged surprised glances. Daniel stepped forward angrily. "He's using you. He wants your money." Ethan calmly shook his head. "I don't want a single dollar." He reached into his wallet. Instead of a business card, he pulled out a small photograph. It showed his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, smiling while holding a handmade birthday card. Ethan smiled. "Everything I do for her. I've never needed someone else's fortune. I only want someone who loves us for who we are." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Lily's picture, then at Ethan. "You've spent your whole life protecting your daughter. I've spent my whole life protecting my company." She smiled softly. "Maybe it's finally time we both had someone protecting us." The guests quietly applauded. Even some members of the board smiled. Evelyn slowly walked toward Ethan. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she extended her hand. "I judged you without knowing you. I was wrong." Ethan shook her hand respectfully. "No family begins perfectly. It begins with honesty." The guests applauded even louder. Daniel quietly turned and walked away alone. For the first time, he understood that money couldn't buy love. 1 year later, the gardens of Ashford Manor were filled with flowers once again. This time, not for a birthday party, but for a wedding. Sophia walked down the aisle wearing a beautiful white gown. At the end of the aisle stood Ethan. Beside him stood little Lily, proudly holding the wedding rings. When the ceremony ended, Lily hugged Sophia tightly. "Can I call you Mom now?" Sophia smiled through tears. "I've been waiting for you to ask." As the guests stood and applauded, Ethan looked around the garden where everything had begun. The place where a fake engagement had become a real family. Sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with destiny. They begin with one unexpected request. "Will you pretend to be my fiancé?"